What's going on, my friends? Jonathan Jones here. You know, it's time for another leadership lesson. It's no secret that we're still currently under quarantine. And yes, we know things have been moving, things have been shaking, and some cities and some states have begun to slowly, gradually opening back up. Right. But today, I don't want to focus on that. Today, I want to talk about selfish season. I love it. And the reason I want to just take a moment and talk a little bit about selfish season is for this simple fact. A lot of times when we typically talk about leadership, or as I've been talking about leadership here lately, I've been talking about it more from a team aspect, more so from the aspect of how can we all better one another? How can we all grow? And how do we all have the opportunity to grow as a unit? And even outside of that, just to increase our impact and increase just the great work that we're doing. But my friends, there comes a point in time in leadership where it's time for you to be selfish. John, what are you saying? Well, I'm glad that you asked me, random man or woman over here to the left side of me. Can I see? What'd you say? Yeah, there comes a point in time when you need to be selfish. So friends, that point in time comes because there's goals that you had when you started out the beginning of 2020. There's goals that you had when you started out the beginning of this next quarter of the year, because we know there's 4 quarters in the year, 3 months each. So therefore, the first quarter, January, February, March, and now we're in April, May. So now we're in the second quarter, rounding off the second quarter. And some of those things might have been slightly delayed by the quarantine, right? For me personally, my goal was just to say, I was like, John, you know what? This year we're gonna see about doing 12 out of state speaking engagements, like just 12, because I'm gonna do the ones that I'm gonna do locally. But 12 was the goal, right? But based on where we are now, I can't travel to go and do those engagements. Therefore, I have to see about taking other action and using other means to make sure that I still am able to complete my goal, because that's what I set out to do in 2020. And my friends, now I want you to be selfish. John, why do I need to be selfish? Does that make me a leader? Yes. Yes, it does. And the reason I came on to start this session with the mask off, shout out the future, mask off, right? But we've all traveled in some way, shape, or form. And if you happen to have had the privilege or the pleasure of traveling on an aircraft, before the airplane takes off, they always say, you can say it with me if you know it, but they always say, friends, first make sure you secure your mask. That's first. You secure your mask first. It's someone after that. John, how does this have to do with leadership? Because ultimately, my friend, each and every one of us is a cup. This cup that I have here, this is a full cup. That's a full cup of water. And we'll just say this is you. Yeah. So we have a full cup of water, and that is representative of you. So therefore, understanding you're a full cup, and these are 2 teammates here. These are 2 teammates that currently, they don't have any water, but your cup is full. So you have the ability to pour into those fellow teammates because you took the time to recharge. You took the time to refill. And you took the time to refocus. All right. So you did the 3 R's. So now post quarantine, because you were selfish in quarantine and you were using this time to recharge, you were using this time to refill, you were using this time to refocus on getting back to your goals. You were refilling, spending more time with your family. You were recharging by having some time just to yourself, away from everybody and away from everything. So now when we come back after the quarantine, your full cup, you can begin to pour out into others, right? It's great. It's a great place to be. However, everything has two sides, right? There's a good, there's a bad, there's a negative, there's a positive. But the thing I want to talk about now is, imagine this, my friend. Imagine that we're actually going to use a different color just so we can parallel. But imagine that in this time, you're trying to do so much more than you were doing before quarantine, pre-quarantine, right? And you have a little bit of water in your cup. Just a little bit of water. And now, this is representative of pre-quarantine. And then now, others are returning, and others are expecting something from you. This little bit of water is only going to go about so far, and then that might partially fill someone up. But what about 2 and 3 and 4? We have nothing for them because we didn't choose to be in this season. I was talking to Coach the other day. It was Coach Hill over at Southern Illinois University. Shout out to the Salukis. And me and Coach Hill began just to talk about how we have a great opportunity now to be present at home. How we have the opportunity now to spend more time with family. How we have the opportunity now to cut off work at a certain time. And it might look different from what it once looked like before, because we're used to going in and working this many hours or that many hours. But now family's at home. So the time that used to be dedicated to work when we were in an office, now things have to change. So my friend, I want you to begin to think, is this you right now? Are you recharging? Are you refilling? And are you refocusing in this time? Or are you being drained, exhausted? And honestly, you might even be in the position to where you might be a little delusional, right? Jabuzo says, sharing my knowledge, wealth, and understanding. Okay, preach to me. I love it, Buzo. But we have a choice. We have a choice. This is what some people may look like when we come back. These are the people who weren't selfish. These are the people who were selfish. But my friends, the great thing to know right now, is this. You still have time. You still have a little time to be selfish. You still have a little bit of time to sleep in bed a little bit later. Can I be honest? I slept in bed a little bit later this morning. I slept in bed about 30 minutes later than what I typically would have, maybe an hour actually, what I typically would have, because I was like, you know what, my body is feeling a little tired. So let me just be wise. Let me pause and let me get this rest in, because in order for me to capitalize, in order for me to do and be as effective as I desire to be at a high level, I need my rest. So what is it that you need? Right? What is it that you need? You to think about. What is it that you need right there? What is it that you need? Do you need more rest? Do you need more time with your significant other? Do you need to be a little bit more selfish? Because a lot of us, okay, here it is. Here it is. A lot of us hear the term servant leader, right? A lot of times it can be tied in with church. It can be tied in with volunteering. But I want to break this down a little bit, because we think that we just serve and serve and serve and serve and serve until we get tired. And then we serve when we're even exhausted. And then we serve. And then it gets to the point and place to where people in the household are being affected in a negative way. Don't get me wrong. Service is a great thing. But if I told myself one day, I said, you know what? Every single day, I'm going to travel all across the country speaking, and I'm only going to come home once every so often. If I was single, that would be fine. But I'm married, so therefore, by me signing up to be married, this relationship is a priority. So therefore, service is something great, but then that could potentially cause a strain in my relationship. So there's a point in time where I have to be selfish and I have to say, it's time to shut it down today, John. And I need to go downstairs and hang out with my wife for us to sit down, eat dinner, and watch reruns of The Office on Netflix and laugh at mindless stuff. So the first thing is just assessing what you need in this season. Like, what is it that you need? What is it that you need? The second thing is this one right here. Some of y'all might like this. When to say no. Knowing when to say no. Some of us, we have amazing opportunities that are presented to us. But sometimes you taking the opportunity is you sacrificing something that's greater down the line. We have to know when to say no. Right? We have to know when to take time and step away. We have to know when to really lock in and say, I really wanted to do that and I thought it was a great thing. But at the same time, it's date night tonight for me and my wife, so I can't do that. Or no. I'm gonna go. The thing I talked about, I said we have to know what it is that we need. The second thing, we have to know when to say no. And I'm gonna show you all the images just really quick because I want to make sure we get it. Because this is what we could look like post-quarantine, right? Because we're taking time to refocus, recharge, and refill our cup. This is a full cup at the top. This is a full cup. So we take time, we refuel, recharge, refill, and refocus so that after quarantine is over and after it's removed, now we have something to pour out into others, right? Or we can be the one who's just, like some people say, like you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Then now leave us drained, exhausted, and delusional. And people are expecting something from us, but we only have so little to give. So now the last one, the last piece here, because we talked about what is it that you need, knowing when to say no. And the last one right here, the last one, oh man, knowing oh goodness, knowing who you need around. Last one is just knowing who you need around. Because there's some people that refill us. There are some people that ultimately they build us up. Luana Vance, Jesus. Amen. On the other side, there's some people that drain us. There's some people that they call our phone, like, hey, John. I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm like, oh, man, I can't stand such and such. Can you believe this person did this? Can you believe this person did that? And I'm like, no. I'm like, that has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with my marriage. That has nothing to do with what I'm trying to do. So, hey, I have to go. They're like, John, I thought you said you were free. Well, I was until you got on my phone talking that foolishness. I have to go. Yes, it's time for me to go ahead and leave. So friends, be selfish with your time in this season. To get back to what you said that you wanted to do. Get selfish this season in guarding your time to where the people that you love and the people that you care for, the people that are around you, that you haven't been nurturing those relationships. And this is a message for me. This is for me. This is for me too. This is me right now. Okay. So I don't want y'all to think I'm talking about, this is for me too. Okay. I talked with some guys earlier. I said, man, I said, pre-quarantine, date nights were getting few and far between. So since quarantine, my wife and I had a conversation and we were talking about, how can we continue to incorporate that? Because just because quarantine happened doesn't mean businesses aren't continuing to operate as usual, just a different way. Same thing with your relationships. Just because quarantine happened doesn't mean that your spouse, that your friend, they don't have needs. That's not what that means. We're all still in this same space. It just looks different. So my friends, I want to encourage you and I implore you today to be selfish. Be selfish in this season. But once again, I just want to say, I want to just bring some perspective. Be selfish for I'm saying a season. So that's a set period of time. Not be selfish the rest of 2020. That's what we're not saying. But you need to guard your time in a way to where you're giving it to people who respect your time. Priorities. That's right. That's right, Tracy. We're giving it to people who build us up, who we build up, who respect our time, who value our time. So be selfish in this season. And friends, if you're just coming into the broadcast or you've been on the broadcast, I would encourage you just to share it, retweet it. Because I really feel like this message can speak into myself. So therefore, I hope you all have a great rest of, what's today? Wednesday? Hope you have a great rest of the Wednesday. Hope you enjoy your night. Hope you enjoy your family and hope you enjoy your time because it's yours. So take ownership of it, protect it, and don't allow anyone to penetrate it unless you say so. Unless you say so. My name is Jonathan Jones. I love you all. Hope you have a great, great, great rest of the week. And then until next time, I will see you later. If you want to find out more information about me, you can go to jonathanjonesspeaks.com. I partner with colleges and universities, serve and support student athletes, and I'm here for leadership lessons because I feel that these are things that we can continue to utilize to not just serve and support us, but also serve those and support us who are coming behind. All right, my family, I will see you all tomorrow. for another leadership lesson. Take care.